David, I'll start with you. What do you think? Can he survive this politically?
That was the most bizarre press conference ever. I mean, it started with the hijacking of the conference by Andrew Breitbart, who came to the microphone. I think he was there to prove that there are a lot of ways to be a narcissistic exhibitionist besides sexting. And then Anthony Weiner just kept talking and talking and talking. He was finished and he kept going. He didn't add anything. He just subjected himself and the whole audience to this extended humiliation. Can he survive? People survive things. As it was mentioned earlier, that David Vitter survived. It's up to the voters. Voters can be very tolerant. And at some level, people are going to wonder, same thing as with Chris Lee, I think. What exactly is the story here? I mean, it's kind of weird behavior. It's not a problem for the wife, but no laws seem to have been broken. It was dishonest. But I find it hard to believe that this is really the kind of story on which the fate of republics turn.
You know, and it's interesting, Roland, he says he never had sex. He didn't even meet any of these women. It was all done on these social networking sites, whether Twitter or Facebook or email, whether he was sending a picture or engaging in some sexting, I guess, if that's what you call it. There were a few phone conversations that he had as well, but it doesn't look like anything illegal was done.
Well, first of all, we don't know what actually took place. All we know that he is incredibly stupid with all of this. I remember when this story first broke, you know, I was on my Facebook page and Twitter page by saying, look, stop giving 4 or 5 stories. Give one story, tell the truth, move on. This is always the problem. It's when you go through this cover-up. Jim Tressel is out as Ohio State's head coach right now because, you know what? He kept giving different stories, and frankly, he didn't report his players getting in trouble. It's always the cover-up. And so, you know, David said that, well, this is sort of weird. No, it's not. Okay, people out here are calling 1-800 numbers. They're into pornography. Now the whole deal is sexting. We're seeing sexting take place in junior high, elementary schools. So it's no shock you would see it happening with adults. And I heard earlier a comment, please, the one thing I do not want to see, I don't want to see his wife standing next to him at a news conference. I can't stand seeing that. The man screwed up, take it like a man, get your butt kicked, but do not subject your wife to any criticism by having her stand next to you at any kind of news conference.
Well, she wasn't told the complete truth, he himself says, until this morning. And David, they've only been married for less than a year, although he says he did confront her with some of his inappropriate behavior over the course of the year.
I find it, through all this, very hard to summon up in myself opinions about this story. You know, I know we're on TV and it's our job to have opinions about everything, including the marriages of people we've never met. But I just find, I dig deep and I find I don't have it. And maybe it's because I got very caught up in the Clinton scandal in the late 1990s, and I got very energized about that, as the way a lot of Republicans did. And you sort of look back on it and you think, what was that all about anyway? And what did it do? What did it accomplish? And what happened in the end that couldn't have been done in just a very few weeks? Why did it have to take an entire year? I mean, but that at least was at a time of national prosperity and a time of national peace. And I don't want to make any excuses for bad behavior. I'm sure, I shouldn't say I'm sure. I have no idea. His wife may well be furious at him. That's her prerogative. And he's maybe not the sort of person you would like to be dating your daughter or connected to a member of your family. And certainly, you know, we don't condone any of this kind of behavior, and nobody should engage in it. And yet, I just find it hard to get energized about this at this time of economic collapse.
Roland, I'm getting a lot of email and getting a lot of tweets from viewers out there saying we're going overboard. You know, this is a personal matter now between Congressman Weiner and his wife. Let's get on and start doing some other reporting, other news. Is this a real story, or are we just going overboard because of the salacious nature of it?
Okay, first of all, typically the people who are saying that are the folks who are likely Democrats or liberals, and the last thing they want to see us discussing this with a Democratic congressman. If it was a conservative, I guarantee you the liberals wouldn't be saying it, and vice versa. So let's just go ahead and be honest about that. But here is, I think, the fundamental issue here that I do think broadens this whole deal, David, and it comes to credibility. It comes to honesty. And that is when Congressman Weiner is often on television, when he is talking about the policies of fellow members of Congress, things along those lines and bills, okay, what people are watching at home, they're saying, I need to trust what the person is saying. And what happens is your credibility now takes a hit when you lied repeatedly, and now you want to come out, and so your credibility is the question here.
Now
and
we're
so
talking
I
something,
think that's
Roland,
really
now
what
we are
the
talking
issue is.
something important, because he did try to gin up a phony scandal about Clarence Thomas because Clarence Thomas's wife was doing advocacy work. And that part of the story, I think, yes, a man who did not tell the truth is a bad person to be leading the torches and the protests against a judge being married to a partner who's got political work. I mean, Alice Batchelder is the chief judge on the Sixth Circuit. Her husband is the important member, I think, of the Ohio State Legislature. Nobody's suggesting that Mr. Batchelder doesn't have a right to be an important member of the Ohio State Legislature. So, yes, he should stand down from that. He should never have taken it up. But as to the marriage, I find I don't have opinions.
You know what? This will be an issue between the two of them, as it should be. Let's see what happens. David, Roland, guys, thanks very much.